Hi everyone, this is Mr. Visual. In this video, we're going to demonstrate how to create wall cladding or paneling in ArchiCAD. Wall cladding is used as protect function of walls in addition to the aesthetic one. There are different materials used to create this, and also different patterns, styles or designs can be achieved in modern architecture. My name is Dominic, so if you are an ArchiCAD user and you've been wondering the best way to create wall cladding for any pattern using different materials, this video has it all. We will discuss the modern wall cladding examples and create wall cladding designs on a scale of basic to advanced level. Watch this video till the end. I have some interesting gift for you. Before any further ado, let's get started. Before we start, I want to thank the returning viewers or subscribers for their magnificent input to this channel. And if you are new, you are welcome. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos. Check out as well ArchiCAD BIM resources to optimize your workflow. The link is in the description. We create resources such as templates, presets, objects, ebooks, BIM complete projects for personal or office library. If you go to Pinterest and search for wall cladding designs, you'll get tons of different interesting designs, patterns or styles that you can use into your projects. This also can be used across all project types, and these designs can be achieved in ArchiCAD effortlessly. I know this might intimidate some of you, but don't worry, you are covered. I'm going to demonstrate and take you step-by-step process in a minute how to achieve this and reuse it more onto your next project in ArchiCAD. Okay, to start our demonstration, I've picked this design or style to recreate in ArchiCAD. It's an easy basic pattern to create in ArchiCAD. So let's quickly jump straight into ArchiCAD. We have options here to pick from, but let's start with this one. Let's just jump straight into ArchiCAD and do the demonstration. The best tool to create this is the curtain wall. Curtain wall tool is the best feature where we can recreate all this wall paneling or wall cladding. Let's activate the curtain wall tool and then open its settings. Under the settings, what we need to do here, we have the curtain wall system parameters. You see, that's where we can set the height, the floor plan and section display, and then we have also the placement of the boundary frames here options. We can make it from the inside, you can construct it with the center or outside boundary. We also have the thickness, the angle on which we want to slant our wall or our panel. So if we come here under the favorites arrow or favorites tab, by default ArchiCAD will give you this generic curtain wall favorite. All right, but if we activate, these are one of the components of our curtain. We've got the schemes, frames, panels, junctions and accessories. So if we click on the scheme and then go back to the favorite section, you'd see we have different types of schemes, panels or settings, or you can say patterns or designs or styles depending on what you want to call. So this by default ArchiCAD gives you, and it's not always what you want to reuse in your project, because projects are unique. They have these unique features where you would need to customize the cladding. Okay, so we're going to start from the clean slate. To cut through the chase, let's activate this empty, double click on this empty panel, and then it will load it here. What you need to do here is to set now the pattern that our image geometry is. As you could see, we have 1, 2, 3 columns, and then we have rows, and rows are much thinner, columns are wider. Okay, so let's try to achieve that in our ArchiCAD. So I'm going to start here with the columns. I'm going to create maybe 4 columns. Okay, and then I would move down to arrows, and then arrows to, I'm going to start with the height. The columns are fine at 100 or 1000 millimeters wide, okay, which is a meter. I'm using millimeters, so 1000 is millimeters, and then that's basically a meter. For the rows, I'm going to use maybe 400 millimeters, which is 40 centimeters. So if I change one of this and then I'll add another rows, it will repeat the same measurement, which is 400. I see it as the best thing to do. Okay, so that's basically the pattern of what we want to create in terms of the image we've chosen. But if you say okay and then you draw your pattern, your curtain wall, something like that, and then check in 3D, where is it? Let's just fit in window. You see there's nothing, there's really nothing. But if you select it, you could see some sections of our columns and rows into this frame. So let's go back to our settings, and then what you need to do here is to assign these margins now frames, because they represent frames, these vertical lines and horizontal lines. So I'll start with this one as it is. If I select it, and then you could see here there are non-merged panels, right? So if we check here, we have different types of components we can use: corner frame, boundary frame, mullion frame, transom frame. So I need to select all of them and then assign them a transom frame. Okay, so if I assign it, now it becomes a frame. So I hit OK, you would see we have now a frame here. So let's go back and then assign to all of this. So I would select this one, and then I would use this selection criterion and then select all the vertical elements, and then again I can select even the horizontal ones just once like that, and then I can come here, change it to transom. If I hit OK, you'd see now we have this, we have that. I don't know why this is not showing, but if you go back there, let's start all over again. I can select all of them and then change it to none, right? Hit OK, go back, let's select one of this, use vertical selection, and then I can use horizontal selection to select all of this. I would also do for the columns, vertical selection, which is this, and then horizontal selection. Let's assign it a transom like we did the first. As you could see now, if we hit OK, we have this pattern. This side is because the height of this doesn't accommodate the height of the patterns, so we need to increase the number of rows in order for you to fill in this area. So I'll go back and then let's increase the rows here, maybe by 4, and then hit OK. You'd see we have that like that. Okay, so that's basically just the frame of our cladding. We need to you can get rid of the boundary by coming here under settings, and then let's say go to the frames. Okay, let's go to the frames, and then we want to say the boundary to be let's select the boundary, and then we say invisible. Double click on the invisible. If you hit OK, it will get rid of the boundary. Now you are left with the framing, the framework of your paneling or your cladding. Okay, interesting stuff. So I'll select this and then go back to its settings. What I need to do now is to assign the panels to this. So I'll go back to scheme settings or under schemes, and then I'll select one of the scheme or one of the panel here, and then I'll use this selection criteria as well and select vertically and then select horizontal. I need now to change this from the deleted panel into the distinct panel or main panel, depending on what you want, and hit OK. I'm starting to see now the panels being applied. So if I zoom in here, sorry, you could see my cladding, and it's basically what it's all about. Okay, I could reduce the lines to be thin as it is on the image if I want. That's also possible in ArchiCAD. I can reduce the gaps between the panels. So yeah, that's basically that for this exercise. We'll look into something now complex or a bit advanced in the next demonstration. To move on to the next pattern or style, this is more like an advanced than what we created before, and it's a pattern that has a lot of intricate shapes within shapes. So the best approach to look at it is we have rows and columns. That's the most basic thing to think of designing this in ArchiCAD. That's how the curtain wall feature. You're gonna start by having a base which is going to be rows and columns. So if you dissect this into some rows and columns, we have this line as a column, another column, another column. There we go, column, and then columns. For rows, we have this horizontal line as column, as rows, this line also as a row, this one also as a row, and then we have the row here, lastly another row there. But it seems like these rows are equal in terms of the height, and then the columns also are equal in terms of they are equal. I'm going to make them 400 each. So let's go into ArchiCAD and try see how we can achieve that. So what I'll do, I'll select this curtain wall we created before, Control-Shift-D to make a copy and put it this side. If you check on 3D, let's say select that and then open its settings. What we need to do here is to go back to our scheme favorites and then load an empty panel or empty scheme, and then we start all over again from scratch. So like I said, we have columns that are around that. I'm gonna make it 400. So it's better to start by naming the height or defining the height of that particular column or row, and then if you multiply or increase the number, it will repeat the value, which is 400. So I need to have this 6. Yes, I'm gonna have 6 of this, right? And then for the rows, I'm going to make them 400 high, and then I will make 6 of them as well. Okay, that's basically the foundation or the basic pattern to achieve that. So if you look at the image, if you go back to the image, let's start by creating these 2 panels. We have panels that are 400 by 800. The reason why I'm saying 800 because they cover the 2 rows. Okay, they cover 2 rows. So you're gonna have 1 1. Let's achieve that and see in ArchiCAD. So I'll start with this, select that one like that, and then assign them a transom. Okay, and then we have again this, we're gonna assign them a transom. That's basically what we created if you look at our image clearly. But we still have this line that continues all the way to here. I think is 1 2 3. All right, and then we have this continuous line that goes all the way. So I'm going to go to ArchiCAD and then define that. So I would say all this, select this line and then use horizontally selection, then assign it to a transom. Select all these ones and again set them to be a transom because we make them a frame. Okay, if you go back to our image and see what we created this line and then that line. So we created this panel, that panel, and then this panel. We are yet to create this panel and then these 2 panels. Let's achieve that. We go back to ArchiCAD. We have this line like that, transom. Let's confirm. We've created this. Now we have to have this panel, the 2 panels that caters for 2 columns. So let's say go back and then, okay, this is wrongly done. It has to stop right on this line. I'll delete it. Okay, and then I'll select these 2 and then assign them a transom like that. So we're supposed to have 2 panels here. We're gonna select these ones to create those 2 panels, or to divide or create this division of these 2 panels. Fantastic. Okay, so let's see what's left on this part, on the D and E, and to finish it off our pattern. We have a big panel. As you could see, we have nothing. As it is, it's correctly done. It's going to be this panel that is big. It takes 2 rows and 2 columns. We can confirm that 2 rows, no, I think it's 3 rows, 3 columns, sorry. We need to increase our column here, something like this. Okay, and then let's go back to the image to see what we created. I think we've done a good job here. And then on this line we have this panel and then that panel. This panel takes just 1 row and then 2 columns. This one takes 2 columns and then 2 rows. Okay, let's achieve that. We have this panel that takes 2 columns but in a 1 row. Okay, and then this takes 2 columns and 2 rows, something like that. And then we have this one all the way to there, and then we trim it off with this division. So if we go back to our image, let's go back to the image. Oh, sorry about that. Go back to the image. We've created this panel and then we have this trim. We have this panel and then that panel. We're left with this one that takes 1 row and 2 columns. This one takes 2 columns and 2 rows. So if we go back and then say we have this panel, transom, and then this one as well. Okay, that concludes our panel. So we need now to assign this line just select horizontally like that and assign it a transom, because if you are repeating this, because on a big surface it's going to be multiplied as a repetition, so they have to be seamlessly joining it together. So I'll select the side as well, then do the same, select all of them, and then transom. Okay, I think that's the best way to achieve it. And then once you are done, you can say apply to that. You could see we have just a panel, a frame for our panel. This side is because we need to repeat this again in order for it to multiply. But for the time being, I'll just restrict it to end here for the sake of this demonstration. Let's just stretch this to somewhere there, and then something like that. Yeah, and then let's go back and assign the panels to this framework. So I'll select one of the panels and then use this selection the menus. I'll go for the vertical ones and then go for the horizontal ones, then assign them the distinct panel. If you hit OK, there we go, we have created this panel. Okay, pretty easy, simple stuff. We can move on into something more advanced or more complex in order for us to get this rhythm. Let's see if we stretch this, will it multiply or stack them? I don't know. No, it's not, because we need to repeat this pattern in our frame, in our scheme settings. We need to repeat this pattern more and over again. We can also study based on what's available here. If we look at this, it has to, let me just select one of these. Let me just select one of these. Okay, let's just go for this one and then hit OK. So if we go all the way to that, it will start now multiplying. Okay, same applies to this side, it will start multiplying. All right, now we've lost our pattern we created because of that. So if I had to dissect this scheme pattern, how to achieve this slanted lines, it's pretty simple, pretty easy. You could see now the basic thing is to have this graph or the grids is how you want them. For this one, you could see we have this row that is around 500, we have another one which is 1 meter, 500. They keep on intertwining like that, and then we have this side. So to recreate this, let's just load an empty scheme. Let's go here, load empty scheme. Like I said, yeah, we started with 500, and then the other one is going to be 1 meter. This is the columns, right? And then we're gonna have another 500, and then we have a meter, something like this. Okay, and then from the rows we would have, I think the rows will be equal. Let's just make them 900 like that. Yeah, for the sake of this demonstration. So now to create a slanted lines, so in order for me to go back to that grid, I don't want to lose this, so I would save this. That's a way of now saving your pattern for reusing into a next project. So you could come here and then you say new favorites. I'll call this one just 01 for the sake of this demonstration. And then to load this, double click on it. I wanted to understand, you see this now panel, the first grid at the top here, it caters for the diagonal. The second one goes opposite direction, just like that. That's what I wanted you to understand before we can start. Let's just go back to our grid, and then we're gonna say this line and then this line are going to be, we're transforming them into a frame, right? Once we've done that, a frame, we need to do frame for both, even this one. Okay, so that if I select all these frames and then I can come here, I need to add another here. let's select this. I need to add another row here. Let's come there and then add another row. This row is going to be, I'm going to make it let me just make it 100 for the sake of creating a line here, right? I'm going to select this line and make it transom. Then I'm going to select these two lines, and then within these two lines, or sorry, this panel, I'm going to select this panel. Once I've selected this panel, I'll come here and then have a crossing, add a crossing frame. You see, add a crossing frame, and then I can now get rid of this line, these frames. They were just mainly for adding a cross frame, something like that. Okay, and then for this, I'll have a straight transom, and then this side I'll have a transom, and then also for this I'll have a transom. If I can manage to select this panel, I'll have to add another transom at the top so that this panel can be independent. So I can now select or add another cross opposite like that. So I can now go back and select all this unnecessary frame, delete them, because they're just meant for creating this. I could achieve this as a mirror downside. Okay, so let's select that, this, and that, add this as a transom, and then sorry about that. And then I can select this frame, this panel, set it to be at the opposite, right? Then I can get rid of these lines like that, delete, do the same to the side, select this panel and assign it a transom. Then you can select the panel alone and have a line. Get rid of the frames just like that, and we're moving on to completing this. I'll select that one, this, to create our panel, change this to transom and select the panel, make it that, or make it diagonal. So now you can select the frames because they've done that job. Do the same. This line is going to be straight or horizontal. Then you select these frames for, or the grid for this panel, set it to transom so that you can select the panel separately, and then add a diagonal. Let's get rid of these lines. To promote repetition seamlessly, we need to create this downside as well to have a complete seamless multiplication of this on a surface. So I'm going to select these lines for this panel, set them to transom. I don't know why this one is not selecting. If it's not selecting the lines, what you could do, you could come here and then okay, I think it's on one, and then add another one that you make it like we did for this one. I'll make it 200. No, this one I made it 100, right? Let's just make it 100, that line. Okay, so that we can select this line, make it transom in order for us to select the panel, and the panel is going to be this direction, right? We can get rid of our frames. We no longer need them because they've served its purpose. Unfortunately, you cannot mirror this to the other side. You have to go through this process. Okay, select this grid for the panel, change the frames to transom, and then select the panel alone. Make sure it's diagonal. Okay, so let's get rid of these lines like that. All right, so this half of this polygon, it will make a complete polygon, what you see on the center here. Okay, so if we hit OK, you see now we have that. So let's see if we stretch the height of our, you see now it multiplies nicely. Okay, that's basically how you do it. And then if you go back and let's say we are setting this now being a panels. Okay, so this may be a different panel. We're gonna make it main panel. These ones are going to be a distinct panel. So if you hit OK, you would see you have this kind of arrangement. All right, perfect. So we can move on to the third demonstration if you really want me to increase your level of level knowledge of your curtain walls. Okay, for the third demonstration, it's going to be more like a brick. I'm going to create this kind of cladding. One thing that you need to understand is the seamless stacking of it. We're going to have half brick, which are 2 half bricks, and then we have full, and then we have half, and then we have full. That will complete our seamless texture, our pattern for repeating it along the entire surface of your wall. So let's go back into ArchiCAD and try to achieve that. So I'll come here under ground floor view, and then make this a copy, Ctrl+Shift+G to make a copy. If you check on 3D, let's select it to open its settings. Let's select the settings like that, and then from here what we need to do is to go back to our scheme settings. This time around I'm going to use the checkerboard, this one. You can also reuse other components like I'm trying to demonstrate on this one. So we're going to have 3 columns, right? We're going to have 3 columns. No, 2 columns, sorry. So the width, the height of the rows is going to be 400 for both. Let's say 400, and something like this. Okay, and then I will add this will be a full glass, I mean a full brick. I will delete that one so that this panel becomes full brick. This becomes 2 half bricks. Okay, and then that means this frame is going to be deleted. It's going to be open to receive the other half in order for them to be a full brick. It makes sense, right? And then I'm going to add another row on top. Let's add another row on top of 400, and for this row it's going to be a mirror of what the bottom row is. So I'm going to select this and then make a transform. This is going to be deleted because we don't need that. So we're having this row. Okay, these are not divided. Let's just divide them. Make it a transform, right? Yes, the old transform. We have this panel, and then we have this 2, and then we have that. Okay, so the reason why these ones are not kept because they are half bricks. So we're going to use this transform to complete the repetition of this. Same applies to the bottom one. This is a full brick. The reason why we have one here is to close off the other side. Remember? Okay, so let's hit OK and see the magic. That's basically the magic. If you can even stretch, you could see now the multiplication across. It's seamless. Even if we can stretch the height, it's seamless like that. Okay, and then let's go back and change maybe this to, all this to be distinct panels. Yes, so that you can have something like this. So if you analyze your pattern, you see we have this kind of joint. It's not allowed in brick bonding, so we need to get rid of this joint. So let's go back and say, instead of having this, we need to stack. I think let's have another row above that will be a mirror of this. Okay, so I'll add this line to be a transform, and then I'll get rid of this one. Yeah, something like this. And if you hit OK, it will be now complete. That line diminish or gets away. Okay, that's the perfect brick kind of mimicking pattern we've created. Right, so that's basically how you can create that. To fix the issue of multiply, see this one, if we increase the height, for example, it won't multiply correctly. Same applies to the length, it won't multiply correctly because we have to fix the issue of the multiplication. So if I come here and then open the settings, right, if you open the settings and then I'll go back here and then load a checker box, for example, reuse this one, the repetition will work much easily. So if I had to make this let's say this will be, the columns will be fine at this, we can just increase the number of columns and then increase, make the rows be 400, right? I'll make the rows 400 and then yeah, something like this. and then let's make all the panels, select all the panels and make them to be all distinct panels. So if you hit OK, that will now apply across. You see now it's been applied seamlessly. Okay, so we can also fix this one, because if you again try to increase its height like that, it won't multiply or repeat the pattern. Same applies to the side, it won't do it seamlessly. So to fix that again, it's better to reuse what's there. So if you come here under scheme settings, and then let's say we create this based on the checker box, right? And then let's select all the panels vertically, horizontally, and then make the panels distinct panels, right? And then I'm going to increase the number of okay, let's go back to the image that we're trying to create. Let's find an image here. Wow, for this one we didn't have an image. Am I correct? For this one we didn't have an image. Okay, let's go back. In order for us to create those, let's increase the number of columns. Okay, and then we increase the number of rows, and then on the column, this column is going to be 100, right? And then this also needs to be 100, something like that. And I can increase this as well, so that when I, okay, here this will be 500, something like that, and then another 500, if I remember very well. Okay, so we can now add another meter, something like this, just to have for that. So if we select this panel and then bend it like that, add a cross, do the same to this one, add a cross frame, do the same cross frame, up until you have a complete setup. Up until you have a complete setup. We'll do the same to this one. This is going to be that, and that. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of unnecessary now frames like this one, frame like that one, this one, all these frames that I don't need them here. Okay, so that I can have a clean design. Right. Okay, so we can maybe break this kind of arrangement by having another element this side. Okay, we can make a continuous of this side by adding the, okay, but before we do that, let me just get rid of these ones first, and these ones delete, and we can hit OK to apply the changes, and then you would see vertically it will, if you increase the height, you would see this goes well with the height of the curtain wall. Okay, so that's basically that. So you see now the connection here is poor because you could see we need to have a seamless connection. Remember here, I could say instead of having this, let's go back and we have this frame. I think we can delete yeah, if we have this half, if we add to this one, it should give us the complete panel. How to achieve that? So we need to repeat this to the side. So we have I think we need to get rid of this line. Yes, let's get rid of that line, and then if you hit OK, it should connect very well. Thank you very much. Now we're left with this. There has to be connection instead of having a row here. We're going to do the same. Delete this bottom row, which is 100. Let's get rid of it so that we can have this. This is a complete now pattern that can be multiplied across the entire surface of a wall. So if you hit OK, you'd see now it's like that. Even if even if you try to increase the length, it will multiply accordingly, something like that. Okay, so that's basically that. All right, so we can move on to the next demonstration that is more complex here than this, more complex than this. This one, guys, I bet you this is one of the intricate pattern I've ever created in ArchiCAD. It's first time doing it. I hope it goes right, but I believe with all the basics that we have now, we should be able to create such intricate or delicate patterns or designs in ArchiCAD. So the thing that we need to understand here is the rows and columns. That's the basic stuff that we need to understand by this time. And then again, understand if you are using textures, you know, there's this word seamless texture. Seamless texture means that texture can be multiplied or stacked in one surface, multiplied across the entire surface, and it doesn't show, or it stacks nicely, seamlessly. It doesn't show some breakup lines where the pattern break up. So it has to be continuous stacking of the pattern and across the entire surface of whatever surface you're going to multiply that. Okay, so in this case here, what we need to understand to dissect this is we're going to have this line is going to represent columns, this one also columns, also columns. We're going to have how many columns here? We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. For the rows, we can have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Okay, these columns, I'm going to make them 400 each, and then the rows will be 400, and then the other one will be I think they're going to be 400 each as well. So let's go back to ArchiCAD and try see how best we can do that. Let's go to the ground floor, and then here let's duplicate that, put it aside, and let's check on 3D. We just want to select it and re-edit it. Open the settings, and then I'm going to reload this checker box as a starter. Just load it, and then like I said, we're going to have how many columns? 6 columns of 400. So this is going to be, let's just say 6 columns and see how many are they. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then for the rows, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, something like that. It's subject to change. If you can increase the numbers later, it's easy to do that. And then let's select all the panels. I'm going to select all the panels by using this vertically and then horizontally, and then change them to be a distinct panel. Okay, so that if you hit OK, you would see we just have a box, a frame of box like this. Now is a canvas for us to play around and achieve this an intriguing pattern. Let's see how we can do that. I'm very excited. So go back to ArchiCAD, select this and open its settings. From the settings, what we need to do, the first one, let's reference first the image. We need to have the first column. We have to have this line, and then we have this diagonals. This line will end up on the first row. Okay, let's go back. Then say this is the line that we're talking about. It's on the transom. I would say the height of this should be 500. No. I'm talking about the row, not the height, not the columns. This should be okay. I think I need to change the last. Yeah, this one 500. Make it 500. I want it to be like that. And then this line would represent this line, and then we have to have this rhombus shape or this diagonal shape. Okay, so this is going to be achieved in it's going to be achieved in 2 columns, in 2 rows, right? Let's say go back here, and then we're going to select this, make it that, select this one, make it that, and this one also make it this, make it that, and then we can delete the internal frames. Right, so let's see, is it what we want? Yes, it is. Okay, it is what we want. But now if we look at the image, we don't have no, to continue like that. Let's see, we don't have this line. Okay, I think the box, it looks huge in terms of the height. So what I need to do is to the row 4 and row 3, I'm going to decrease them to be 500. Let's say 500, and then row 3 500, something like that. And then I'm going to repeat the same lines. So that means we don't have this frame, we don't have this frame as well. I'm going to repeat the same for this, and this will be like that, this direction, this, that. Oh, sorry about that. I'm going to do this, it's supposed to be like that, this one is supposed to be that way, and then we get rid of the internal frames like that. This one is going to go as well, and then this one is going to go as well. Okay, and then going down, we're going to have, let's delete these lines, and that one. We're going to have a box. We need to have the same line here. We need to have the same line from this angle to that angle. So that means this is what 2 will represent the height of our column, the height of our box, our shape. So here I'm going to make this to be, is it that way? Yes, that's the one. And then this one is going to be on this direction. Now that forms our box. So it means we need to have this row at, it should be equal as 3, which is 1. 1 is going to be 500, sorry, so that our box can be fully defined like that. So this can be deleted like that. I hope it makes sense, guys. I hope you see what I'm trying to do here. This one is going to be that, and then this also like that. We get rid of this lines. There we go. And then yeah, I think we can still repeat this to the other side as well. Okay, let's repeat it here again for the sake of you not understanding. I'm going to take this one out, take this one out. No, I'm making a mistake. This has to be there before we delete, because we're going to use it to create this line, this one, that line, and this, that, and this gentleman here, and then that gentleman there. Perfect. So now we can get rid of the unnecessary frames like that. Okay, I'm not worried with the stacking because here it's empty and then this side is going to be kept. So yeah, this one also needs to go. No, everything this side needs to be kept. I'll close everything this side. This is the lines that I want to delete. Okay, now what we need to understand is that what if we take this shape and then put it on top? Will it complete this shape? That's another question, because the height of this is 2 plus 3, which is 1.5. For 1 is 500, and then for 5 we have 500. So that means we're short of how much? Let's see, this is 1 is 500, and then 5 is 500. I'll show you 500. I'm gonna make this 1000. Okay, so that it can complete this. If I put this shape here on top of that, it should give me that. Okay, so let's test it in our, let's test. I think this needs to go. Yes, let's test it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit OK and see how this would be. We're almost there. almost, if we reference with our picture or image, we don't have the vertical lines in between here, I mean the horizontal lines in between as ours. You see, I could see this line. We need to get rid of the line. To get rid of the line, let's go back to its settings, and here's the line that we're going to get rid of. Let's select all this line and delete. Hit OK. Should be fine. No, because we need to have another box here on top. If you understand what I'm saying, we need to have a box there, a box here. Let's see what if we stretch the, yeah, I think it's fine this direction. Like I'm saying, we need to have a box there. Let's see and confirm that, yeah, this is repeating. Okay, let's go back and then open settings. What I'm saying here, this should be a repetition. We need to have a mirroring of this at the top there. Okay, instead of having that 1 meter, let's keep it under 500. Another 500 will come at the top. Let's add another 500 there, and what we need to do is to select, let's add are they fixed? No, they meet straight. Okay, let's select all these lines. Select all these lines by using horizontally, and then make them a transom. Same applies to this, because we're using them to create our diagonals. So we're gonna have a diagonal which is this side, another one that side. Yes. Am I doing the right thing? Let me confirm first with the image. No, it's not the right thing. It's not the right thing. It's not. Let me delete this. You know why it's not? Because yeah, they are supposed to, I think they're supposed to go on this line instead of this line. Let's see for the last time. Okay, now I see. Let me check first. Yeah. All right, now I've seen where the problem is. Okay. See where the problem is. Let's delete this line. Hit OK. We still have we still have this line, but here we need to have a box. If you go back there, this is the line. This is this is the line. Delete. Hit OK, and that's pretty much it. We need to delete again this row. Yes, I think that row is made up with this line, of which let's get rid of 5. Delete 5. Hit OK. Yeah, perfect. This is what I wanted. Even if I can now increase the height all the way to the pattern will still maintain its, and then I can increase the length like that. Fantastic. Okay, so that's basically what we created so far, guys. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about this methodology of creating any pattern or any style of your wall cladding or wall paneling. This could also affect have an input again in the interior spaces. I have an image here that I've also looked at in terms of the interior, And let's just open this part. Okay, here are the patterns that we can also achieve in interior spaces. So if you look at one of this, you see one of this cladding or finish. Look at this. We can, yeah, this is the interesting one. I think we can also create this if you want. If your time allows me, I can create this. You see the background here. We have this slanting lines and then a vertical line, slanting lines, vertical line intertwined together. This forms a pattern. So you could also achieve that in ArchiCAD if you want to inform your interior design buildings. Okay, the time for the gift. I talked about the gift from the introduction. The gift is now what if you want to reuse this into a different project? So you have to copy the entire element like this and copy paste it. No, it's not supposed to be like that. You have to have a way that is user friendly to reuse elements in ArchiCAD. So the best way is to use favorites. So I'm going to open the favorites palettes. Let's go to Windows and then palettes. Let's open favorites. There we go. What you need to do here under the curtain wall and within the same scheme settings, let's create a new folder down below here and called, from this time around, I'll just call MS Beam scheme designs, something like that. Then hit enter. There we go. You have a folder there now, and I can start by this one, selecting this, and within this folder I can double click and open it and come here down below and create a new favorite. This I'll call it A1. Hit OK. I'll select the second element, and you could see now when you save it from the favorite here, it doesn't look alright. So the best thing is to delete this. Let's just delete that, and then we created a folder. That is fine. Let's hit close, and then we're going to select this and open the settings. We're going to do it from the settings. Let's save it from the settings. Select the scheme and go back here under scheme favorites. You'd find under schemes, let's find our folder there. Where is it? We've deleted it. Okay, we can create a folder here. Let's just create a folder here, call it MS Beam scheme designs, then hit enter. The name is already there. I'll say scheme patterns, right? Scheme patterns, then hit OK, and then you can open that folder. Let's save this as A1. Hit enter. There we go. We can close off this or hit OK. Then let's select the next element. Go back to the settings, schemes, go up here under favorites. Let's create a new. This is going to be A2. Enter. Hit OK. Select this next one. Open the settings. Under scheme favorites, create new. This will be A3. Then hit OK. Select this. Open the settings and scheme settings or favorites. Let's create the last one, which is A4. Okay, and then hit OK. So once we have this, if you go back here under Windows, palettes, favorites, we can export this. We can select this. This is the one. We can export this by clicking on this additional settings, export. I like to export as an XML file because this doesn't require a library to load. Okay, if you are using a favorite, it will require a library to load, but for this it's fine. So I'll come here under export to folder, generate XML files, because they are already objects and you're just loading them into your, it doesn't require you to have a library to back up this. So I'll hit export, and then let's say selected only. We need to select them first. Let's close, select, shift and hold to select all of them. Go back, export, import. Let's export this. Oh sorry, before we say, let's go back again. We need to select favorites only, or selected favorites only. That's the reason why we are selected. And then hit export. I'll find a folder to put this. Let's just put it here. There we go. And then if you go to the folder, should find your new, where are they? Should be here. Did I save them into the right file? Okay, to avoid problems, let me just save them on there. Let's export them again. Go back here under additional settings, export or import. Make sure you use XML files like I said. Make sure you check the box for selected favorites only, and then export. I'm going to go back to the same folder, and then I'm going to make a new folder. I'll call this one 03, right, on the desktop, and then okay, should be there. Let's go back to our folder under desktop. Let's find for 03. There we go, A1 up to 4. So let me show you how to load them into a new project, right? Okay, here I have a project that we created a video before. I'll put the link at the top right corner, even on the description, for you to see how we've created this project. So what I need to do here is to zoom in closely here. What I want to show you is we've created this pattern. All right, we created this pattern, and I want to load the ones that we created already now. And how do you bring them in your project? So go to the window, and then palettes, and bring in your favorites. So we're going to select the curtain wall. Make sure you're under curtain wall, and then schemes. I would come here, and then let's import, and I'm gonna import XML files because we save them as XMLs, and then hit import, and then find the folder in your this folder, and I'll hit it. There we go. There are 4 of them. Import, and then should have yeah, there we go. Perfect. So I can come and select this, right? This project is heavy, and then let's just close off this and open settings. I would come here under schemes, and then favorites. Let's find this, and then we can choose a different format like this one. Let's apply it, hit OK, and then wait for it to change. That's basically how you can load this into your project and reuse it to define. It's pretty because I'm using a laptop, and this project is huge for this, and curtain wall, it has a lot of curtain walls, and obviously it will drag down the performance of your machine. So just bear with me with that. So it will take a bit of time to load that. But basically that concludes, or we came to an end of our video. I appreciate your effort if you've made it to this far. And to check all the materials that we've used to this video, check the link on the description and download those resources. If you haven't subscribed, please, what are you waiting for? Just hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more videos like this. You would see now it's been loaded, and it looks wow, fantastic. You could now reduce the size of your frames. It's easy. You go back here, and then under frames, you only have one frame, which is the transom frame, right? You could set whatever distance that you want. I could say 100 by 100. You could see now it changes there, and then hit OK to apply the changes. That's basically that, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Peace.